Ladies and gentlemen, fear is a silent force that holds so many people back from living fully. It whispers doubts in your mind, makes you hesitate when opportunities arise, and convinces you that failure is inevitable. But fear is not an unstoppable force. It is a habit of the mind, and like any habit, it can be replaced with something far greater: faith, courage, and belief in yourself. Think for a moment about the things that scare you. Perhaps it's failure, rejection, or the unknown. Maybe it's the fear of not being good enough, of taking risks, or of stepping out of your comfort zone. These fears may seem powerful, but they are only as strong as the energy you give them. Fear is a creation of the mind, and what the mind creates, the mind can overcome. Fear and faith cannot exist together. When you allow fear to dominate, it clouds your ability to see possibility. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of doubt and hesitation. But faith, even in the smallest amount, begins to clear the fog of fear. Faith is the belief that no matter what happens, you have the strength to face it. It is the confidence that solutions will appear, that you are guided, and that even setbacks have a purpose. If you want to overcome fear, start by recognizing that it is a habit, one that has been built over time by repetitive negative thoughts. But just as the mind can learn fear, it can also learn confidence. Every time you replace a fearful thought with a positive one, you weaken fear's hold on you. Instead of saying, "What if I fail?" say, "What if I succeed?" Instead of thinking, "I'm not capable," say, "I am more than enough." These small shifts in thought have enormous power. The greatest enemy of fear is action. Fear grows in stillness, in hesitation, in waiting for the perfect moment. The longer you avoid something, the bigger and scarier it seems. But the moment you take action, fear begins to fade. You don't have to take giant leaps. Small steps are enough. If you fear public speaking, start by speaking to one person, then a small group, and gradually work your way up. If you fear failure in your goals, take one small step today that moves you forward. With each action, you prove to yourself that fear does not control you, you control fear. Your thoughts shape your reality. What you focus on expands. If you fill your mind with thoughts of fear, worry, and doubt, your world will reflect those feelings. But if you choose to focus on courage, possibilities, and solutions, your reality will begin to change. When faced with fear, pause and ask yourself, is this fear real? Pause and ask yourself, is this fear real? Or is it something I am imagining? Most fears are not rooted in reality. They are exaggerated thoughts, worst-case scenarios that may never happen. The more you shift your focus to what can go right, the less fear will influence your decisions. One of the most powerful ways to overcome fear is to visualize success. Close your eyes and see yourself conquering your fears. Imagine yourself speaking with confidence, succeeding in your career, handling challenges with ease. The mind cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined event and reality, so when you repeatedly picture success, your brain begins to believe it's possible. This creates a powerful shift in your confidence and actions. Surround yourself with positivity. The people, books, and influences in your life shape your mindset. If you constantly hear messages of doubt and limitation, fear will thrive. But when you fill your mind with uplifting words, stories of courage, and people who inspire you, fear loses its power. Read books that encourage bold thinking. Listen to speeches that motivate, and spend time with those who lift you up. Ultimately, overcoming fear is a choice. You can choose to let fear hold you back, or you can choose to rise above it. You are stronger than your fears, greater than your doubts, and more powerful than your insecurities. Every great success story is built on moments of courage, times when someone decided that fear would no longer control their future. So today, make a decision. Choose courage over fear, action over hesitation, and faith over doubt. Step forward, even if it's just a small step. Trust that within you lies the strength to overcome anything. Fear may try to whisper in your mind, but you have the power to silence it. You were not meant to live in fear. You were meant to rise, to grow, and to step boldly into the greatness that awaits you. The world is waiting for the fearless version of you. It's time to show up. Fear is not an unchangeable part of who you are. It is a learned mental habit. And like any habit, it can be unlearned and replaced. Many people believe that fear is something permanent. something they must live with for life. But this is not true. Fear is a pattern of thought reinforced over time through repetition. The more you focus on fearful thoughts, the stronger the habit of fear becomes. However, just as a person can train their mind to think negatively, they can also train it to think positively, confidently, and courageously. Every time you allow fear to dictate your actions, you strengthen its grip. But every time you choose to act in spite of fear, you weaken it. Changing the habit of fear starts with recognizing that it is not a fixed reality, it is a mindset that can be reshaped. Begin by identifying the thoughts that fuel your fears. Are you constantly imagining worst-case scenarios? Do you tell yourself that failure is inevitable? These thoughts have been repeated so often that they feel real, but they are simply mental patterns. When you consciously replace fearful thoughts with thoughts of courage and possibility, you begin to rewrite the script of your mind. One of the most effective ways to reprogram fear-based thinking is through positive affirmations and visualization. When you repeatedly tell yourself, I am strong, I am capable, I am fearless, your mind begins to accept these truths. When you visualize yourself succeeding in situations that once caused fear, you train your brain to respond with confidence instead of anxiety. Over time, fear loses its control, and a new habit of courage takes its place. Fear is not permanent. It is simply a habit waiting to be changed. Fear and faith cannot coexist in the same mind at the same time. One always overpowers the other. When fear dominates, it creates doubt, hesitation, and anxiety, making even the simplest tasks seem overwhelming. But when faith takes the lead, fear begins to fade, replaced by confidence, strength, and a sense of inner security. Faith is the belief that things will work out, that solutions will appear, and that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. It is not just a religious concept. It is a mindset, a force that gives you the courage to keep moving forward even when the outcome is uncertain. Fear thrives on uncertainty, feeding on worst-case scenarios and imagined failures. It tells you that you are not good enough, that you might fail, that the unknown is dangerous. But faith transforms uncertainty into possibility. It reminds you that every challenge is an opportunity for growth, that failure is just a stepping stone, and that the unknown holds just as much potential for success as it does for failure. When you cultivate faith, fear loses its grip because your mind is no longer focused on failure but on solutions and opportunities. Developing faith requires conscious effort. It starts with feeding your mind with positive and uplifting thoughts. Surround yourself with people who encourage and inspire you. Read books and listen to messages that reinforce confidence and optimism. Most importantly, take small steps in the direction of your goals. Every action taken in faith, no matter how small, weakens fear and strengthens your belief in yourself. The more you rely on faith, the less power fear has over you. Eventually, you will reach a point where fear no longer dictates your choices. Faith does. Fear thrives in hesitation. The longer you wait, the more your mind fills with doubt, making the obstacle appear larger than it truly is. But the moment you take action, fear begins to weaken. Action is the antidote to fear because it shifts your focus from worry to movement, from uncertainty to progress. When you act, even in small ways, you prove to yourself that fear does not have the final say. You do. Many people wait for the fear to disappear before they act, believing that courage must come first. But courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward despite it. If you wait until you feel completely fearless, you may never begin. The key is to act in small, manageable steps. If you are afraid of speaking in public, start by practicing in front of a mirror, then in front of one person, then in front of a small group. If you fear failure in a new business, take one small step each day. Research, plan, and test ideas rather than waiting for the perfect moment. Each step forward builds confidence and makes fear feel less overwhelming. When you take action, you shift your mind from a passive state to an active one. Fear thrives in inaction because inaction allows your imagination to create worst-case scenarios. But when you act, you engage with reality, and reality is almost always less frightening than the fears in your mind. Over time, consistent action creates momentum, and momentum creates confidence. Eventually, what once seemed terrifying becomes manageable, even natural. The lesson is simple. Fear loses its power when you face it. The more you act, the weaker fear becomes, until one day you look back and realize it never truly had power over you at all. Fear is not an unchangeable force. It is a habit of thought, a pattern that can be broken and replaced with courage, confidence, and faith. When you recognize that fear is a creation of the mind, you realize that you have the power to change it. By shifting your thoughts, strengthening your faith, taking action, and focusing on possibilities instead of limitations, you weaken fear's grip and open yourself to a life of greater confidence and fulfillment. The journey to overcoming fear is not about eliminating it completely, but about refusing to let it control your decisions. Every time you replace doubt with belief, hesitation with action, and fear with faith, you are rewriting your story. Fear may still whisper in the background, but it will no longer have the power to hold you back. You are stronger than your fears, greater than your doubts, and capable of far more than you imagine. So step forward with faith. Take action even when you feel uncertain. Choose courage in the face of fear. The life you desire is waiting for you, not on the other side of fear, but through it. Walk boldly, trust in your own strength, and watch as fear fades, replaced by the unstoppable force of confidence and determination. Thank you for watching.